Hello, hello. Hope it has been a wonderful day. Wait for some people to come in and gather. This week is a King of Clubs week. All right. It has been a very dope week. Pretty King of Clubbish for me, I would say, as far as events and things and lessons that I've had to learn and just reading up on the King of Clubs. I actually went to a video shoot, which was during the Queen of Clubs week, but flowing into the King of Clubs week. I've been really boggled down in thinking about missed opportunities, actually. FOMO, fear of missing out, is kind of real. And there's a King of Clubs trait as well. Um, I've been, as you know, or I've been talking and speaking about the clothing line a lot. And looking back and looking at my particular, what I had done, I don't kind of regret it because I actually have about 4 or 5 good shirts, but there was a couple shirts in there well I don't like. But the concept is great. But I would do print and buy the shirts as I print them, which is a little bit expensive. Whenever you building a clothing line, or whenever you go into anything, or when you sell anything, having expertise within that field saves you money a lot of times, and having connections, having people which is also a king's trait, which is why I'm bringing it up and speaking about it, is being familiar with those people that's informed, staying in tune, being in tune with partnerships. I remember maybe a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago, someone asked me what was the significance of the two of spades and the king of clubs. Um, and I don't know if I fully explained it, but looking at getting a second opinion is very important. And the concept around that two of spades and working in partnerships with that card. Hey, Madeline, 1 second.
Hey, Rashawn.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm at a art festival, so I've kind of snuck off to the side and trying to show up. My apologies. It's
Oh
a
no,
busy
you.
time of year for those queens that have birthdays.
Oh, sure, that's dope. So the
So,
birthday party was at the art festival. Or was just the event?
not really. We're just celebrating. We're just having fun. We just had a nice time. It's a really nice art festival, Utah Arts Festival. It's been going on, I think, 48 years. So, uh, so yeah, it's been really nice. Tons of amazing art. It's just really the time people take to make art and what they create is really something.
Mhm. Sometimes I was just an event. It's a festival, right? So it's not about her. But I get it. Okay, but
What are you
yeah.
saying?
So I'm asking you, was it like her party was there, which that could have been. That'd be dope if you could throw a party at a festival. I don't have a lot of feedback, maybe just a little bit. I think that'd be dope if people allowed that. But that's all I was asking. But yeah, that's pretty dope. I actually went into the kitchen to grab this poster behind me. That's like a piece of art that I have, and that's pretty. That's actually something I was going to speak about, kind of sort of. is being the skills of the King of Clubs and it being the artist as well. You know, because the King of Clubs transforms into three of Hearts. So I'm gonna put you on. Okay, and the King of Clubs transforms into the three of Hearts. So they're artists also. You know, and I found a artist possibly for the clothing line. Um, I'm pretty sure she is, but she definitely helps. She actually is a king of clubs, and I've been speaking with her for a while now. But my first payment to her was this week. Like I don't know where I'm getting this money from, but, but my first payment was to her this week. Actually, I do know. I got a business partner, so she did pull through. But we've been having a lot of expenses here lately. But yeah, it's been kind of interesting. Yeah, so you at a art festival. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, I can totally see how there could be a booth of the cards and talking about the cards. I really, really want you to get that done. I'm excited to hear that the energies are coming in for it because I see it as a compliment to everything and it'll open up the conversation in so many ways.
You said excited about what?
You making clothing line with cards or whatever, like starting to come in with this because I think it'll make it more of a conversational piece.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
You're
Well,
not
yeah.
doing card. You're not doing card church. You're doing clothing line of a different type.
No, just around the cards. I had thoughts of doing stuff around different things, but it's never really panned out that way. Um, yeah, it's been a few different designs I've had. I talked about it, I think before y'all came in a little bit last week. I posted about it on Instagram, but there was all money in or something. I think that was a clothing line. And it was the symbol was around my dog. I had dogs at one point. I was breeding dogs, so that was the symbol. Not all money in, but I forgot the clothing line name. That's so bad. Um, and it was me and someone else. Actually, my niece still has a hat of it. But yeah, it was just based in fruit and veg entree. That's the one I talked about last week. That was mine just by myself. It was based around veganism, or I guess you can say consumerism and living sustainable in a way. It wasn't much as I guess what people would call as a minimalist line. I wouldn't name it that. But yeah, that was the concept. But yeah, so yeah, I've enjoyed the process, and I think it will help with the clothing and getting out the message. I think that the essence of spirituality and its use doesn't have a proper medium. So I'm not saying that's the best medium, but I think it's definitely a way to get the message across.
I agree. I totally agree. Hey Gina, how are you?
Hey, I'm eating. I'm almost done, but I'm
Oh,
here. I just don't think
okay.
you
Okay.
want to see me engulf this food because I've been sitting at this desk all day or my chair working on my little projects that I've been working on, and I
Good
needed to
girl,
put some
Gina.
food in
Thank
my
you.
belly. So,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So yeah, the King of Clubs. That's an interesting one. I like learning more about it because it's my like hidden energy card, right? So, and they're pretty deep, and I always enjoy a good conversation with the King of Clubs. I find them to be pretty wise. What do you think, Sean? Oh, and just for the FYI, my phone's got a certain amount of time in it, and when it's up, I might pop, but
Mhm.
no offense.
No, you're fine. So it is a card around wisdom, around truth. Um, and it has a essence of leadership. I think getting things done, being task oriented in some type of way, being helpful. Some of the cards or the energy books may say they can be selfish, So whenever you look at these cards, I always look at the highs and the lows. But for the most part, the clubs, I think, can be truthful or they can lie. It just depends, right? I think it's just, your fair share. And then they have a Jack of Diamonds and Mercury, so I can see they can be they can be tricky storytellers or sellers. But on the great ends of things, just during the week, during the energy, speaking of truth, being honest, and carrying or walking beside principles, as all kings, should do. But that's why I say you have your lows and your highs. A lot of times I don't want to just glamorize a card, but it's definitely a card that promotes leadership and honesty and truthfulness. Kendrick Lamar is the king of clubs. I am a Kendrick Lamar listener. I listen to Drake as well. But I can say I can probably be a little biased sometimes just because I know the mission of Kendrick Lamar. He lives it. And that's, I think, the difference between Drake and Kendrick Lamar is if spiritually, when you look at it, you can't really be mad at either one of them for living out their mission. And as Drake drew towards the cards, I have to say I drew towards him more a little bit because he seems to know about the cards. I wouldn't be surprised as a Jack of Hearts.
You rang? No, I'm just kidding.
Speaking of the Jack of Hearts,
I just finished. That was funny.
I probably would stop like
Yeah, it's interesting. I have noticed there's an interesting dance and dynamic with the King of Clubs and the Jack of Hearts. Mm-hmm. I've seen them in relationships. I have come across a lot of King of Clubs in my life. And I think that the Jacks obviously bring play and fun because, that's us. And it kind of helps the King maybe be less rigid and maybe less serious, because it is a very serious energy. It's very focused. It's very, there's not a lot of room for, and I'm not trying to be funny, but I am. I think the Jack energy for the King is so that, that they can play a little bit, that they can relax a little bit, that they can actually lighten up a little bit. I've noticed the dance between the King of Clubs and the Jack of Hearts. I've seen it in relationships. I've seen it in my own life. And also with the Jack of Hearts, having that King as a Jupiter, King as a Saturn, there is this element of that authority that I think we are somewhat attracted to. But the moment you tell us what to do, it's a wrap. We don't want that. So, but I've noticed there is this dance with those two energies.
And you've seen them in relationships
mm-hmm.
as well?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think that could be because you have a King of Saturn, possibly you could be attracting that lesson, or And what do you have a king anywhere else?
Just the Jupiter and Saturn are my kings.
Yeah. Okay, someone crazy. Yeah, the Jupiter card is a Saturn, and that's more of the husband for a lot of women. They say lives within that Jupiter card as well. Let me see. The Jupiter is the King of Hearts, which is today's card.
Mm-hmm. I just lost it. It's hot.
And the King of Hearts, I know you may have company, but the King of Diamonds is your dad, right?
But I'm sorry, say it again.
Saturn card?
Your dad is the King of Diamonds?
Mine?
Yeah.
No, my Ace of Diamonds.
Ace of Diamonds. Who's the King of Diamonds for you?
It's my Saturn card, but I've had a lot of it's interesting. I don't know that I've had King of Diamond men in my life. I've had clients that are King of Diamonds, but I've attracted or have had very close female friends that have been King of Diamonds in my life. I'm talking about years. I had one friend, she passed away years ago, but we were like this. We were a whole mess. And then I have another friend who's a King of Diamonds that we've known each other now probably 15 years. And, we're really cool. We're really tight with each other. And I can respect the energy of the King, of the authority, of the power. I just, I always jokingly say, pull the stick out your butt and have a little bit of fun, relax. It's okay. So, and I think the Jack energy brings that lightness and that playfulness, because they can be super serious and super rigid at times, but they are, at the same time, they're, they come with this power, this, these demands, this sense of responsibility and duty that, of accomplishing and getting things done. So, but I have had, King of Diamond women more than I've noticed the men. And maybe I'm just not aware of it, but I, even like, if I go back, I don't know that I've ever personally have been around a King of Diamonds man, but I've definitely had more King of Diamonds women in my life.
Well, I would say the King of the Diamonds men probably have bigger sticks up their butt, so that's probably why you don't hang out with them. And my imitating one for some of my life. And the other thing I'd say is, as a king, like so many of my girls are Jacks. I've had all long-term Jack girlfriends, tons of them. I don't always do well with the long-term with the queens, but I do like long-term lifers with the Jacks. No, there's a good amount of queens too. But yeah, so I agree. I think that's something about the relating of the Jacks and the Kings is a real thing.
Oh yeah. And I think too, there's this element with the Kings that they try to parent and control and enforce the rules, and we're gonna break them. We're gonna be like, F your rules and do what we want. So.
But then there's times where they want to hear what you have to say, because I would say a lot of them have come to me for counsel or clarity at times over the years. Like, there's ways that my Saturn or my tone could be like, yeah, you can do that all you want, but just remember this is the truth, right? So you're going to consider this sometime when you slow down, because I'm not trying to be a fuddy-duddy. You're missing a big piece right now. So like, I've done that to some of my longer term jobs. And yeah, and maybe I'm thinking I'm righteous, but sometimes it's like they're not conscious of, I don't know, they're just like doing damage a little bit. Like, especially in love. I'll say that was biggest when I was a bartender, when they would be very easily jump from one to the other, and then they'd leave people drunk at the bar crying.
But that's the Jack. Drake is the Jack of Hearts.
Mm-hmm.
The playboy, going from woman to woman, having fun, and here's the king trying to tell them, no, sit down.
Yeah, who's to say? That might be the better way. They might be right?
I mean, it's just the character and nothing towards them. It's just funny to see that, because that was the biggest thing between this rap battle, was between the characters and Drake. And that was the theme of him, Kendrick Lamar, being married, which the King of Clubs says, well, for the women, it says that they're more successful if they marry early. A lot of the King of Clubs get married. But they also have a King of Hearts, Queen of Hearts in Pluto, and a Four of Hearts in Venus, So I think marriage and family is really, and they have an Eight of Hearts. So marriage and family, and they transform into a heart. So relationships is very important, and it can rock their boat, because you got to see the positions they have it in. I think they have it in some of the most family and in-depth positions and intricate positions that you can have, like cars in, or certain places. So, yeah, I think family and those particular principles, I just see that funny, because that was the principles that Kendrick slid on, family, and the things that Drake also tried to pick at him, as far as maybe not being married, and that family thing could be kind of interesting for those particular cards. But I think Jack of Hearts actually get married later on in life, so they do settle down, at some point in life.
It's fun. Gina's next wedding's going to be a good time for us all.
It will be a party for sure. And I think with the King of Clubs, there is this with those two fours, it very much is about that, emotional security, the family, the home, building a castle. When you really think about it, they're building a castle. They want that castle, and they want to rule that castle for sure. So but they have to, there's that being flexible, being open to, sharing that space with others and not just trying to control everything and have that dominance. Because sometimes you'll see that. I've seen it with the women. I've seen it with the men, with the King of Clubs. But family is very important to them, But I think, too, with the Queen of Hearts being in Pluto, there can be that element of, sometimes maybe even indulging too much and taking things to a whole nother level with that card being there, and having to really open up their heart and be of, there's this essence of needing, of serving, and nurturing, but I think it can be challenging. I think there's some challenges with that Queen of Hearts and Pluto, really allowing and receiving and doing things from that heart space rather than from like a dictatorship. You know what I mean?
No, they have to, because they sit in the two of space, So, and they have a king of spades, boom. That's kind of tough, like you said, not being a dictator, not being over controlling, not being emotional, staying balanced. And then I have a six of clubs, six of spades, So having to have, like I was saying earlier, having a clothing line, I think I made it a point to ask my business partner what she liked and what she didn't like, instead of just being impulsive and making a decision, because I have FOMO, where, like, so I can feel like, because I can have things that can happen in my life I can foresee. I also foresee things I'm not doing, and procrastination, and you get FOMO, fear of missing out, you're not doing things, and you start panicking. So you just start doing things, and sometimes the fear and FOMO will push you to getting things done. So that's a part of King of Clubs as well. That energy of, I think it was very telling when Kendrick, on one of the songs, he was praying and he was like, God, who am I if I don't go to war? Who am I if I miss out on this opportunity, of accomplishing or overcoming this this person that's been causing a havoc in my life or whatever. So I think the King of Clubs energy can have you having FOMO, fear of missing out, needing to complete things, and also making sure that you get your following through on the things that you want to do, but slowing down, asking your partner, making the right decision and not being too impulsive, because it also says Uranus. So you do have to open up, let other people in, be vulnerable, maybe have that conversation, that one-on-one conversation, and sit down and really put things into plan and not really worry on the things that you may be missing out on. Because, like I said, that two of spades is very important for that card. So that was one thing that I kind of struggled in trying to make sure I don't have that, and make sure I ask my business partner, like, what do we need to do? What do you think is dope, or what designs do you actually like? Instead of just being too impulsive. Because the King of Clubs is also Uranus, and it has a King of Spades and the Moon. It can be a very fixed card, especially once they have their mind on something, their emotions, and it can be an intuitive and psychic card as well. So they do have to follow their intuition. I think when you're in a partnership or a business relationship, not following your intuition can be, you can lose yourself. It can make it frustrating being in the business and you not being able to follow your intuition. But you can do that in a business, and just ask your partner, like, what do you think about this, and before you implement something.
And be open to listening to them. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the key. I remember long time ago when I lived in Atlanta and I worked in Atlanta, and I didn't know the cards at the time. But when I found out this person's card and she was a King of Clubs, I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. And her and I used to battle. I mean, we would butt heads. And it's just that, like, I don't come to because there was the restaurant was ran by people who were on the radio. There was so I used to say, look, I don't come to the radio station and push buttons and tell you how to do your job. Right? So don't come here in my space and what I know and tell me how to do my job. And so we would butt heads, like we would butt heads. And that's the thing, like I now understand, like me being that fixed card, like you are not going to get me to budge. Like, so like, it makes so much sense. And her and I would battle, but I had mad respect for her ability to lead, her mental, I mean, man, her mind and the way she could, I think she's the Virgo king of clubs. So her analytics and her research, I mean, she had notebook, I mean, just binders and binders and binders of information. And I'm like, I don't need any of that. Like, I have it all up here. You know, like for me, I know what I'm doing in this space. This is my wheelhouse. This restaurants at that time has wine. I was a big wine person. I was actually brought in to train servers how to serve wine, how to describe wine, how to pour wine, all of it. So, and again, like this is my wheelhouse. That's your wheelhouse. Don't step in my wheelhouse and try to tell me what to do, because then it's going to be a problem. And so we would butt heads a lot. And that's why I think they have that too. As spades is a challenging karma card, is like being open and, you know, listening to others, being able to cooperate with others sometimes is a challenge for that energy. But I think they have to respect your ability, right? If you don't know what you're doing, they will, I mean, destroy you in that sense of like they're going to run all over you. But if they have a respect for your own, you know, capabilities and your mental power, and you know what you're talking about and you can uphold, they'll respect it. And I think that's when they'll listen to you. That's when they're open to you. But if you come to them with some BS, they're not even probably going to listen to you. But if you, and that's what I had to do. Is like, no, I know what I'm doing. I have been doing this for 20 years. I can do this blindfolded, you know? And once I like showed that, she backed off. Like, you know what I mean? She's like, oh, you got this. Yes, I do. But it's like, you had to prove that you could hold your own in this space, that I did know what I like. And that was one of the things. She wanted to be in control and in power of everything. I was like, this is my space. Again, I don't come to the radio station and push your buttons or, you know, do what you do, because I don't know what I'm doing there, but I do know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, they have to be experts, you know, that's within their field. So it's not, like you said, you can't really take it personal. You just have to show them, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And that's manly or masculine energy, and it can be intimidating. And I hate this, not to just go into the modern trendy topics, but a lot of people talk about dating, and a lot of women, and a lot of things have progressed where women take up like masculine roles, like in the workspace and the job. You know? And if you look at the king of clubs, like a king of clubs woman could end up in a masculine position, or working, or Jack of Diamonds can be in what is considered a traditional masculine position. You know, it's just the energy of the cards, and certain things come with that card. You know,
Oh yeah.
so when you have masculine traits, or those particular cards, and come off bully, you know, like a bully sometimes, you know, judgmental, you know, and it's just a trait of the king of clubs, you know, and even like the women, you know, they can be bullies. And I think even speaking in Aquarius class this week or this morning, I just popped up, right? Uranus is the pop-up card. If you want to see somebody or something pop up or come out of nowhere, is the king of clubs, or the Uranus energy. So interesting, right?
They won't just pop up, they'll pop off. Like, let's be real. It ain't just about popping up. They're gonna pop off, like for real, because of where it sits too. So yeah.
and that's why it can be the bully, you know, and that's why emotions and controlling your emotions and those things can be kind of hard, you know, as a Queen of Hearts and Pluto. Before Malcolm X was Malcolm X, he was Malcolm Little, right? So there's size and that control. Once they gain control of the mental and their emotions, that's when they gain the power, you know, the expertise, the ability to focus, you know. Laziness disappears, addictions, you know, they go through a lot, you know. Just that card overall is a fight, you know. You have the Eight of Spades that's attached to it as well. So that's where that bully and that power and that mental and that mind control can come from. Enterprising, that card or that particular energy is an enterprising card. I've seen a eight of, is it a six of spades? No, he's an eight of spades. Literally bully people on the phone, and like he's a must be like a business. You call it a business trying to get finance, and he's bullying people on the phone. But they respect detail and authority, though. You got to gain those cards respect based upon the knowledge, and you can't downplay them as well. So those were other angles within that particular rap battle as well, was the downplaying of Kendrick's abilities from Drake. He didn't see him as a respectable opponent. Talking to King Clubs, like they don't know what they're talking about. Like she said, they bringing a book to the meeting. It's a very detail oriented card. And on the other side, like I said, if you like, I know this card, I know this person, that is not them. It can lack those things. It may not have good, even the good ones, as she said, like even they may not lack, or they may lack business or partnership skills, but definitely detailed oriented, right? And that's one reason why we study, or why we even look at celebrities a lot of times as well, because a lot of times they exemplify their card to the fullest, in some type of way. And a lot of people be like, why y'all talk about celebrities all the time? Because they work to the extremes to their cards, and that's a lot of times why what other people are lacking, because they're not impulsive. They don't work towards the extremes of these cards and their personalities. And when you do, you see a star, right? A star is going to burn fast, it's bright, and a lot of celebrities and stars play into their astrology. They play into their cards just easier, and you're able to explain it and able to see it from a metaphysical perspective than sometimes a regular person who may be on the lower side. And not saying these characters aren't, but they just play it to the extreme. Even on the lowest side is to the extreme, very low, right? Like, think about being a limelight or a celebrity, being depressed. It is extremes, even being on the higher you up, the harder to fall, So like, imagine being broke. You got $1,000 and you got $200. But imagine you had $1,000,000 and you go broke and you got $10,000. Oh my! And your bills 20, $30,000. So it's a different. It's laws of extremes, even within the cards, and that's why we kind of look at celebrities and explain in that way as well. But yeah, so these characters, Drake, Kendrick Lamar, and other people, a lot of people, we live out these cards. So yeah, partnerships is very important for them, and being detail oriented, and being a bully, possibly. It can be seen from that. Let me go through the comments, see if there was anything. Appreciate y'all showing up. If you have any questions, make sure you kind of ask throughout the week. I know we lost Madeline here. And was there anything you want to say as well, Gina? As I look through the comments.
No, it's just, my own interaction with this energy. And I can see with the Jack of Diamonds being the Mercury card, why they, may attract a lot of Jack energy. And it does kind of bring, they can be very convincing. That Jack of Diamonds is a very, having a Jack and Mercury, your words and how you communicate, and they are always trying to sell you an idea or sell you something.
They're so charming.
Yeah.
They're so charmingly controlling. That's what I called my friend that was on. I'm like, you're like a controlling charmer. It's like, I don't know what you're trying to control and why you think you know better than everybody else, but like, if we could just chill, I think it'd be fine. but there was a way that he just really felt it had to be done. And he was so charismatic about the way he would get people to do it and say it. So that's what I started to call him the CC, the controlling charmer. It's like, man, you really got game on that. You really have a way of just bringing people to seeing it your way. And it's like, then he would settle down too. He was a little bit squirrely sometimes. But once things were in control the way he thought it should be, he had even more grace in his presence. But when I was pushing it another way or being myself in the dynamic, it was, I could see I was not helping. Like, if I could just go along, it would have been more helpful. So who's to say? But yeah, I would say that Jack of Diamonds can be very charming.
Yeah, it's probably one of my, what I call, I like to have the little titles, the Rico Suave energy, and all the hearts have it. But I would definitely say the Jack of Diamonds is a card that definitely gives off Rico Suave, because they're very charming, they're very convincing. They're a salesman card. I mean, they're gonna sell you. And having that King of Clubs, having that Jack of Diamonds in Mercury, gives them that tongue, gives them those words. They know how, and it can be manipulative, and it can be, persuasive. But again, at the same time, because that Jack of Diamonds is here to initiate a higher set of values, it has, there's this sense of like, is it being honest with what it's saying? Is it coming, through with transparency, right? Rather than trying to manipulate you into doing something or buying something or following in some way. But it can be very convincing. Definitely can be very convincing, with that Jack of Diamonds being their Mercury card. And then majority of their row or their cards sit in that Neptune line too. So there's this energy of and I think because majority of that line sits in Neptune, there is an attraction to that, right? And it definitely makes you feel like you're drawn to that energy in some way, at times, with both of those cards, the King of Clubs and the Jack of Diamonds.
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Yeah. They're for sure. I find the girl ones to be a lot easier, and I have a lot of King of Clubs friends. And the King of King of Clubs men, I often find a little bit of grandpa in them, like a little bit of like old school.
My grandfather was a King of Clubs.
Yeah, I find a little like old school kind of vibe in the King of Clubs.
I've noticed there's something too with the King and the Ace, because like my dad's dad was a King of Clubs. My grandmother, his mom, was the Ace of Spades, and they had 5 kids total, but 2 of them were aces, Ace of Diamonds, Ace of Clubs. So I've seen that also. I've seen the King of Clubs and the Ace of Spades in other like dynamics, other dances as well. And I think there is that element of, the power and the will, the determination, that they both wield, and that they both have to succeed and to be, the best. So there is that, I think, dance that they do with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can agree with that. Also, the King of Spades has a Pluto ace. The Ace of Spades has a Pluto king. Both of the kings transforms into aces. So, and then it just has a moon card as far as the Ace of Clubs. It's considered a moon. But yeah, so yeah, I can definitely see that. Yeah, someone has a question. They ask, so if you're a Scorpio King Club with all of those planetary rulers, with it being the Mars and Pluto card, does it make it more difficult energy to carry? Are Scorpios have a more difficult life path, overall, just because they're carrying the Mars and the Pluto?
Well, I think, so they'd be ruled by the 4 of Diamonds and the Queen of Hearts, which I think with that energy, there's maybe the tendencies of being complacent, maybe wanting to be catered to. It's all about getting clear and having that focus, having things in order. When you're looking at the 4 of Diamonds, again, there's a strong sense of like building some kind of security. And, you know, that energy, you know, that the need of security, I think, is important for the King of Clubs that is ruled by those two energies. And then the Queen of Hearts, too, being a part of that, you know, there's that essence of allowing really the nurturing side, you know, intimacy, and really allowing yourself to receive that, I think sometimes can be a challenge for that. Maybe the Scorpio King of Clubs. They can be intense too. You know, they may be stubborn in, you know, how they want things and how they feel about things, with being ruled by Mars and Pluto, and those cards being the cards that are in Mars and Pluto for them. They can maybe be more rigid and more stuck in their ways, with being ruled by that Four of Diamonds and the Queen of Hearts. And they may take pleasure to the extreme with the Queen of Hearts being in Pluto, right? Indulging. And because even the Four of Diamonds can be a very indulging energy, so they can go maybe over the top with that. I don't know if it would be more difficult, but you now have two, you know, you have two other cards that are kind of part of that personality, rather than the other cards that are not Scorpio only have the one.
Yeah, and the tendency to go to the extreme, you know, could be a little bit more. It could be more pressure. It can be the archetype can be seen a little bit more through the Scorpio energy. Through all Scorpios, you tend to see them really push that Mars and that Pluto energy a little bit more. But yeah, I definitely agree on all of those. Being progressive, they have to be pretty progressive, or it can be going too lazy. Yeah, especially with, like she said, with the Queen of Hearts, Four of Diamonds, and being fixed or stubborn, and just passion. A lot of times, usually about something or fix. Um, so
Yes, Scorpios can hold pretty tight. But I will, and don't like to let things too close. But I have to go. I'm sorry for the choppy way I've been today, but thank you so much for keeping it flowing. And yeah, in this King of Cups week, we're getting a lot done. And next week we'll be rolling out on the Friday the family card table with some packages and stuff. So if you want to know more, check out the family card table next week sometime on Friday at 5. We'll be talking. Rashawn, I'm excited about the shirts and whatever you come to create, and that you're doing business in a transparent way. Gina, thanks for everything you're getting done.
No problem. So I don't know if you all could hear what you were kind of low, so I'll just kind of speak on
Good.
what you were saying. So we'll be on Friday. This Friday we're doing another YouTube, the family card table. There'll be a launch of a website coming out with some packages that we're offering. We've been working really hard on this to kind of bring a different, you know, way with the cards, especially focusing on families and parenting. And that's what the YouTube will be on Fridays. It's more the dynamics of parenting, children, families, and how, you know, knowing those cards and who's in your family really does help. Most of you have heard me speak about how they've helped with my children and just understanding my family as well. So I was really passionate about doing this. And yeah, today I've been working nonstop to get my part of the project done, and leave it up to me to do everything at the last minute. Be here like all day. Oh my God. But I work good under pressure and I got it done. So it's done. That's all that matters. But yeah, so definitely some new things coming. It's kind of perfect in the Ace of Diamonds week that we're about to go into, you know, so really launching new things and being motivated for new opportunities, new ideas, new offerings, stuff like that. So that's what she was speaking about.
yeah, so Ace of Diamonds coming up. So yeah, there's a lot of new things that'll be launching. So the YouTube is on what channel on next week, or how will it be?
I think it's going to be under the family card table, and I believe it's either at 4:30 or at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I can't remember the exact time. I'll post about it. I'm sure we'll post about it. I'll send out an email as well, and it'll be more focused on the family dynamics with the cards and like sitting at the family card table, right? And just really helping families grow and have a better understanding of everybody's energy. And then there's packages that will be coming out, and, you know, different options of just, you know, embracing these cards and how they can really be a tool to help with your family dynamics.
Yeah, someone asks if my business partner was a king of clubs. No, she's not a king of clubs. Well, one of the artists that I'm using is a king of clubs. That's what I was saying earlier. Yeah. But I don't really have anything else. Was there anything else that you wanted to speak on as far as the king of clubs? I know. So, was there anything else?
No, it's funny with it being a King of Clubs week. I had another webinar on Saturday, so I really have felt this energy strong this week, and even like the family dynamics that have showed up in this week for me as well. With like, I've had babies in my house, which it was funny, and it's interesting because I actually transformed into the Queen of Hearts this week. So, and I hadn't really looked at it. And I was like, where are my cards? I even said, there's got to be a Queen of Hearts in my spread this week because I've been watching a baby for 3 days. And then yesterday, a baby was here and through someone close to me. And so I'm like, oh my God. And my reward card this week was the 4 of Hearts. So like the family, the home, and I transformed into the Queen of Hearts. I was like, well, there it is. So it was really interesting week. And in that King of Clubs, getting things done and really being able to focus, using the power of my mind. I taught the Saturn webinar, which was really dope. I'm launching 2 more webinars for the month of July. We're working on the cosmic lesson next Sunday, and then 2 weeks from then, but it won't be on Sunday, it'll be on Saturday. I'm doing a webinar on composite cards and relationships. So really like tapping into like that teaching and bringing forth some kind of, knowledge and helping people, I say make things make sense. And just really breaking down different parts of our spread so that it can be digestible and made, that people can kind of really focus on just specific placements so that they can really grasp, the information and really have a better understanding of those cards that they have in their spread. So I really have felt this whole club, these last like 13 weeks of clubs has been really nothing but like the mind on overload. And even there were a few weeks in these 13 weeks that I was like, oh my God, make it stop. Like, turn it off, please turn it off. Like, how do they do this? I always have all the emotions and, people are always like, how do you do that? But I guess it's just so second nature for me, but the mind like nonstop thinking and, so I'm actually kind of looking forward to the Diamond weekly energies because I actually can appreciate that now more. I don't mind the pressure because I actually feel more accomplished and I get things done, so, and it probably has a lot to do with my own Saturn card being the King of Diamonds and, really having to kind of boss up and focus. So I'm looking forward to the new weekly energies of the diamonds. And now tomorrow will be our last spade day for the whole year. It's the last Ace of Spades day. And then you're going to start seeing more hearts come at the end of the month. So, yay.
So, yeah. That's going to be, but we'll see. But yeah, we're looking forward to those. Yay. I actually got a reading. I was like, I don't want to do it, but King Club Psychics dealing with psychics as well. So I pay for a reading this week, and I was like, let me ask you about love. I was like, let me see. Let me test her out because I'm not looking for a relationship. So she said anything about a relationship. Ain't no way. But she was like, you're just going to be focusing on work and there's going to be one person that comes along and I don't know if they're too good. Then there's another Libra possibly that's coming along. I was like, yeah, right. But work, I was like, once she said work, I was like, all right, you may know something, lady. Let me see. Then she started talking about some other 2 people. I was like, I don't know where you seeing these people. I don't know what you're talking about. But all right. But the King Clubs does deal with psychic intuition, use your intuition, getting things done, being practical, having a routine. I can say going into the diamonds, I've seen that I need to really have a routine of getting things done because you never know how you're going to need it And especially when it pertains to your business, you feel like you want to do something and something needs to get done, do not procrastinate. That is the worst. Like, and I definitely say going into the diamond season, which is supposed to be um, reaping the fruits from my labor, almost kind of sort of, but really I think the fruits are really towards the winter time. But anyway, so reaping the fruits, but you gotta have things done, you can't have been stuck in your mind, not getting things done, not having things in order, as you were saying earlier with the King of Clubs, as is very detail oriented. So coming to the meeting with a stack of books and being knowledgeable is all of those aspects. And I found myself even diving back into the basics of the cards more, going to the origin, looking at the 13 weeks, 4 seasons, and the 13 moons, and just going back into what is it built upon? Even Aquarius said something in class earlier. She was saying you can calculate the day from the calendar, with the card from the calendar day. And I do know how to do that, but I forgot how to do that. I do know how to do it though. It's somewhere in here. It's somewhere.
It's somewhere up there.
It's somewhere up there. I just can't access it yet, but it's there. But just going back into the basics, the details of the origin of the cars, and even trying to put that into the clothing line maybe as well, with other things, as you all bring to our attention. Thank you, as we all here learning attributes of the cards, is kind of the point. But you can't really work without knowing the details of anything. So going into the diamonds season, that focus energy, that detail, is what you're supposed to be reaping from, but if you haven't done that, or you still facing my 7 of clubs, which it almost took me down last week. I ain't gonna lie. During the Staples Center, I was outside the Staples Center at the Kendrick Lamar concert, staring at myself in this packet of shirts. Like, why aren't you out there trying to sell these shirts? But I don't even like the shirts no more. To be honest, I'm gonna give them out for free. I did pay a lot of money for it. You want to donate? Finally Rich 99. $ finally rich 99. Don't get it twisted. I'm not rich, but that's my cash out. But I don't like the shirt, so I'm giving them out for free, and with the reading as well. So you get a T-shirt with the reading. They're pretty. I don't like. I have a 5 girl shirt, so only 5 women readings. They're medium and small, and I have 2 large, like pullover, like not pullover, but like really thin, like sweatshirts kind of. Now I have these see-through linens. I show them. It looks like a linen, but it's a cotton, but it's very thin. So 5 female shirts are pretty good. The men's, I don't like them. But
I want you to say your Cash App again, but end it when you say it, and not say I'm not there yet.
$ Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. Finally Rich 99.
Then stop. Don't say nothing else.
All right. Rich spirit, broke phone.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so that's the King of Clubs, right? So yeah. What was I saying?
You're talking about the shirts and the material, and you were going to show them. And
yeah. But yeah,
so you're changing the design.
No, actually, everything now is kind of like a mock, so it's not even really official. I have designs and templates. I have like a pricing. I have everything. Like the printing of it was a learning process.
Oh yeah.
Like it told me, like the King Clubs, you have to be knowledgeable before you go into business of anything, even the plan and the marketing of things, even the presentation. Like I said, I had a little bit of fear of FOMO. Like I'm in a really dope city where you can catch a lot of events and market your product. And if you have your audience in one place, it's a lot of people possibly. So I had like a little fear of FOMO. So I did give out like some shirts at the video shoot. But I didn't. though I printed them so fast that they wasn't fully developed. You see what I'm saying? I didn't know anything about material. I didn't know anything about certain details and the way that that you can only print a certain type. You know, I didn't know all those details before I did it. And so the ones I gave away was probably my best shirts. But like I said, I still have 5 females, so that's pretty dope. But I'm gonna give those out during readings. That's my thing. But yeah, that was me going into it. I didn't know anything, so it was a learning process, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So now I know pricing, where I'm at, how much it costs, all those details makes it a little bit easier. Getting the website up is a little bit is strenuous. I've been working on that all week, trying to get that up. Like you said, going into the diamonds, I feel a lot of pressure to have done or have a lot of things done that I probably feel like I've been procrastinating on. And that's probably because I felt like I needed more when I really didn't need that much. You know how, like, I was talking to my partner, she was like, I've always felt like I needed $1 million just to start, but you don't. You need $100, $200, maybe even 1,000. You don't need $1 million just to start. You know.
I started my company 9 years ago with a tax return, and it wasn't a big one. You know, it was not. And to be honest with you, that was probably one of the biggest risks that I've ever taken, because I used to operate from that space of fear and not having enough. And, you know, I would get my tax returns and, you know, I'd hoard it, you know, and then I'd be like, I didn't even do anything with it. Like, it would be, you know, stupid stuff. So I remember when it was right after I had my youngest daughter, and I really wanted to not have to go back to the regular 9 to 5, and I still wanted a way to make money and do something, because I can't do nothing. And I, you know, the magnesium was really helping me. And so I remember being like, you know what, like, when taxes come, that's when you know, depending on what you get back, like, and that was the thing, like, all of it. Like, I had to really, like, all of it has to go. Yeah. You know, and it was like that battle in my head, like, and I had to really, and I probably would say it was probably a big transformation for me, because I really had to push through with the fear of not knowing if this was going to work, and what if it, you know, and it was, like I said, it wasn't a significant amount of money, but it was to me, you know, and to be able to have to put it all into this, I was like, ah! But I'm so grateful that I did it. And so, yeah, I literally started this company with a tax return and a lot of heart to, you know, watch it grow and pour into it. And so 9 years now, 9.5 years now, still going. And I'm grateful that I was able to and that, like you said, you don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars. You need, you know, a little bit of money and your will and your passion to really want something. And when you love it and when you're really in it, you know, and it's been a running joke that most people are surprised that I've even been in business as long as I have, because I surely don't know what the hell I'm doing. But again, that heart that I have, you're not gonna, you know, I really do see, when I love something, it really will grow, it will really bloom. And I think that's important. And that is probably why I've been in business for as long as I have, because my heart has always been in it, which can be a con too, because I've had to also, with this business, learn how to get out of my feelings, because I live there. And so being a business owner, and that's where I had to really invoke my King of Diamonds, because I'd be boohooing about everything. And I had to really, like, there's no room for feelings in business. And that was hard for me because I feel everything. So to be able to have to separate my feelings was very challenging for me. But being a business owner will teach you there is no room for feelings in this. And, you know, but again, I'm still very, you know, passionate about what I do. I take my customers and my clients and very seriously. And even with the cards, like, even working with the cards, teaching the cards was a big leap for me, you know, and believing that I could do this and believing that people would even want to come and listen to me talk about these cards was a big thing for me. So
For sure.
you know, having that confidence, King of Clubs, right? Believing in, you know, having confidence in your knowledge, confidence in the information, confidence in what you bring to your craft or your skill or whatever it may be, and standing 10 toes on that. You know what I mean? Like standing solid on that is so key for the King of Clubs.
Yeah, confident king of clubs. I hate to say that anyone is more powerful than anybody else, but even in the face of they don't know what they're talking about, they are so convinced.
Well, that Jack of Diamonds will convince you that they do, whether they do or not. Like they'll have you wrap like, oh, you're smart.
Right.
You
That's
know,
why I hate to say, because I know if they have other cards that give them and help them, because the Jack of Diamonds, that's another tough one. That is like you said, the Jack of Diamonds, King of Clubs. If they don't know, you wouldn't even know. Jack of
you would
Diamonds,
not know.
Clubs,
They'll
King,
fake it till they make it.
Jack of Clubs. Like, so I would give Drake a point on him saying that Kendrick Lamar was confident when he really didn't even know. That was a spiritual point. I had to give to him that, just because that's the King of Clubs, or just a club straight. They will say something and think they know, and they don't even know. So, so I do have, or have the motivation and going to do a King of Clubs, Jack of Hearts, like really break down, I guess, the lyricism, the battle in itself. It'll probably be a pre-recorded presentation as well, to really breaking down the character of the two cards itself, you know, because even listening to this, playing it back, you can see that Kendrick Lamar emits the King of Clubs, you know, the detail, the wisdom, you know, just psychic ability, or even the presentation of being psychic, or having being, you know, well thought out, before he implement anything, you know. um is all characteristics, and they're healers as well. He even speaks to himself in that type of way. So um, the detail and the relationship between the cards and the artist, it's kind of hard to separate it. Is, you know, once you see the card, that's you can very much so point out that artist. But let me go through another comment. Let me see if there's anything else. And most king clubs I know have stomach issues. I'm assuming it's the Eight of Hearts. Eight of Hearts and the Eight of Spades. Most eights got a stomach issue, right? Yeah, Eight of
Well,
Hearts and the Eight of Spades for the King clubs. They do also. Hmm?
I think it's
Go ahead.
it's the sevens that are connected to that eight. It's the sevens
Mhm.
that are connected to that Eight of Hearts, and also I think the Queen of Hearts and Pluto can have that, because if they overindulge, if they overeat, if they overdo it, that can cause stomach problems too. And also think about it, your emotions. You know what I mean? You eat in an emotional way. You can overeat. You can overindulge. But I've noticed a lot of the stomach issues is connected to the sevens.
Yeah, yeah, they have stomach issues too. The Seven of Hearts, Seven of Spades. You can a lot of times the way their diet is very important. You know,
Mm-hmm.
to their lifestyle. Like their diet is a lifestyle. It's not like, I'm just going on a diet. No, you can get a lifestyle change. And they may even go back and forth between lifestyles as well. You know, it's not just a diet for them. If they change, it's more of a lifestyle change. So yeah, that's why a lot of times king clubs can be physicians. They can be doctors. You
Mm-hmm.
know, some type of healer in some type of way as well. Um, so, yeah.
And they're very like they can learn anything. You know what I mean? Like they'll go to the top of their class. They'll be the valedictorian. You know, they'll be the number one student. They're like natural researchers. You
Mhm.
know, and they take the information and they don't mind. I have noticed with them too, when they solve problems, when they figure things out, they'll help other people. So that you could definitely see them being in that space of healing and helping others, because they'll research it, they'll look at every option, they'll have all the notes, everything, and then they'll bring you the information and be like, okay, here's a plan, you
Mhm.
know, and here's what you need to take, and here's what you need to do, and follow this. Like, and I think part of the eight that is connected to the king too is their commitment, sticking to something. You know what I mean? Because those eights are an infinite source, and they're a lot of power. And I find that there's a lot of commitment to that energy, sticking to the, you know, and same thing with the fours, like sticking to something, staying, you know, the course, if you will. So they're big on that as well.
Yeah, being dedicated to something.
Mm-hmm. Very
Um,
much.
and the Eight of Spades is triumph. You know,
Mm-hmm.
overcoming a task or obstacle. You know, is the characteristics of the King of Clubs, and because it's supported by the Eight of Spades. If you can't see, I mean, it's the reason that we're kind of speaking towards it. Let me see. No, I'm like, is it on the screen? No. Does this change the screen?
Oh, I don't know. You know, I'm always hitting buttons, but I don't have the powers to change the screen that I'm aware of.
No, I was asking. I don't know if you can see
Oh,
it.
I said I can't
But
change.
if you can't see it, join the classes. But we're probably right at an hour. But
Mm-hmm.
we'll be on next week as the Ace of Diamonds, new energy as we've been speaking towards. As we have progressed out of the clubs, if you don't know, now you know, 13 quarters, you know. So we're going into the diamonds phase. We're coming out of the clubs and starting with the Ace of Diamonds. So, Ace of Diamonds is a card of, it's a wizard. It's a card that's related to manifestation, money management, you know. So, investing. So, not just now you're planning out, now you're investing to reap from your works, you know. Having faith, because the diamonds can be maybe a little bit impatient. You know, we want things probably just as fast as a club that may present you wrong information. They may be doing that out of the goodness of their hearts, but a diamond may be just trying to get some money. Let me not start a rumor, but before y'all run with that, like diamonds stole some money from me. But yes, so it is about manifestation, working money, materialism, you know, focus, energy as well, you know, and it also has a light of expertise, you know, so the diamond works on a pressure, you know, and something is manifested. So it's pressurized information, knowledge, you know, to manifest something, even though we can try to sell everything under the sun sometimes. But that's the thing, you know, once you become an expert, you know, you really don't even need too many things or just the way that you manage people, money, and time. Because it also sits in Saturn. You can't do everything. It's all about time management as well. You know, coming from, they sit in the spirit spread. When I say they come from Saturn, a lot of them sit in Saturn. So it's about time management, you know, and what you do to manifest, you know, with that management. Because Uranus space is all about manifestation, getting what you earn or what you deserve as well. You know, so you go from the Saturn to that Uranus, and we're speaking from a spiritual standpoint. Wow, that's what I'm speaking from. But
When they
with
have, you know, the Ace of Diamonds has the Queen of Spades and Pluto, and it being an ace, which is self, right? So it really is about mastering yourself. That's why they can be a wizard when they see that the power that they have with that Queen of Spades and Pluto is spiritual self mastery, right? So mastering their values, mastering their worth, and not like wavering on that. And that's why they are such a powerful force to be reckoned with, because of that Queen of Spades and Pluto, right? And really doing the work. They're not afraid of the work. They're not afraid. They'll outwork you. I
Mhm.
guarantee it. You know, they're very
Right.
motivated, and they can be very like, they don't need you. They realize that all they need is themselves, and they're not afraid to go at it alone. They're not afraid to. They're not going to wait for you either. Like they're gonna leave you behind because they have a goal, they have a mission, they have a purpose. And it is about birthing those values, but it's seeing the value of yourself first
Mhm.
and foremost with that ace. And because the Queen of Spades is the Pluto card to that card, it really is about recognizing the power within and realizing that any problems or obstacles has inside solutions. And again, not having to look outside yourself and not really needing anything but they're complete on their own. you know, with that Queen of Spades and Pluto. So that's why it's such a very, it can be an intense energy. And yes, the impatience is like no other. And you got to be mindful of that hurry, because that's where mistakes can happen, right? Because they're always go, 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 go. So take your time, especially driving throughout the week. A lot of impatience, maybe around other people, because they may not be aware of the energy, but it is a very fast moving card. It definitely makes you want to, you know, it's a motivated energy, right? It motivates you to pursue your goals and to really see that you do have the power to, you know, birth new values and really go after what is valuable to you.
I'm not a businessman. I'm a businessman. So
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. You are the source to power, you know. And that's why I also call the Ace of Diamonds the wizard, you know. And crafters, creators, and manifestors. So definitely mastery of self is a lesson of this week. And may we all may the games odds be in our favor, you know. So enjoy your week. Hopefully get some things done and start manifesting, crafting some new ideas. If you're not working on anything new, may it go into production, right? So hope see you all next week. Talk a little bit more about the Ace of Diamonds coming up. If you have any questions guided by the cards, you can reach me at the card table 1 on Instagram. And we'll see you all next week.
Bye, Rashad. Bye, everybody.
See ya. Mm-hmm.